Hey, what's up? lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 1916 book Rinkitink in Oz. This is written by L. Frank Baum, illustrated by John O'Neill. This is the 10th book in the Land of Oz book series by L. Frank Baum. I will reiterate again, L. Frank Baum is a hypocrite. He had advocated and wrote 2 editorials about why the mass genocide of Native Americans was important for the survival of the American settler. Not cool. Not cool. We're not fans of him anymore. We're still finishing out the book series, never reading it again, but prefacing that L. Frank Baum was not a good person. Despite writing about love and acceptance, he did not preach it. So, he did not live it, excuse me. That was the contrast. So this book, having said that, this book is good. It's not great. It's not terrific. It's not terrible. It's good. Within the canon of the Oz series, it's good. It had a nice twist, which I completely forgot about. The main character is not Rinkitink. Rinkitink is this king here, right? The main character is Prince Inga, who's here, right? This is Prince Inga's story. Bilbo the goat, right? Who's actually Prince Bobo from Boboland, who is transformed, and then we find out that reveal at the end, which is pretty smart. But, like, this is not Rinkitink's story. This is Prince Inga's story. Prince Inga has these magic pearls, and he saves King Rinkitink and Bilbo many a time throughout the entire story. So, Prince Inga is the prince of Pingaree, which is an island in the Nonestic Ocean. Outside of the Land of Oz lies the Deadly Desert, and then the Gnome King, the Land of Ev, the Wheeler Country, Rinkitink, and then, there's other islands within the Nonestic Ocean, right? So, we're familiar with the Land of Ev, we're familiar with the Gnome Kingdom. The current Gnome King is King Kitticut. Kitticut? Something like that. And so, this story, the first 3/4 of this story takes place within the different islands in the Nonestic Ocean. We go from Pingaree to Corgus to Paris or something. It's just, there's just 3 islands that we keep traveling to back and forth. One of the leaders destroys the island of Pingaree, and Inga is the last, not survivor, because no one technically dies. They're just all captured and taken as slaves to the next island. So he finds these magic, he knows about his family's magic pearls. One is white, gives him wisdom. One is blue, gives him strength. One is pink, gives him safety, something like that. He puts 2 of them in his shoes. He holds one of them. He finds King Rinkitink along the way with his talking goat Bilbo, who he rides because he's too fat, he can't walk. And the 3 of them are now trying to get to one island to the next to save his parents from capture, to save the rest of the people, right? It's a nice kingdom versus kingdom story. It's a good, let's save the day, let's be heroes, and let's try to figure out along the way how to do this, right? So eventually, one of the captured king and queen are then taken to the Gnome King after another battle on another island with another queen, which was interesting. But the pearls are lost within the shoes, and then the shoes are eventually found by a girl, Zella. Her father gave her these shoes, and then Prince Inga convinces her to trade him the shoes, and then her father becomes, not a magistrate, but something along that line of Pingaree at the end of the story, which was nice. But then it's going back to the Gnome Kingdom and facing King Kitticut and his right-hand man, whose name I can never remember. But they are just trying to make sure that none of these intruders / guests, if you will, prisoners, have anything to do with the Land of Oz, because the Land of Oz folk, the Ozites, are far too powerful for King Kitticut to deal with. That he wants nothing to do with eggs. He wants nothing to do with Dorothy. Dorothy and the Wizard then come from Oz after seeing this in Ozma's Master Picture Frame, after reading about this in Glinda's Magic Book, come to save Prince Inga and company, bring them all for a celebration, to Oz, after all of this has happened, after all of, Prince Inga saving his people, getting them all to safety, led by Zella's dad. So they all feast and party for weeks on end in the Emerald City. They eventually go back to their respected lands after Glinda transforms Bilbo back to Prince Bobo. I liked that transformation. That was cool. And then they all live happily ever after, right? I don't remember this book at all. I've read this book 3 times now. I don't remember it. So it's interesting now, looking at it from a story perspective, This had a good story. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. It had a nice twist at the end. It has nothing to do with Rinkitink as the main character. It has nothing to do with Oz until the last 40 pages. It should have not been called Rinkitink and Oz. It should have been called something about Prince Inga, Prince Inga's Adventures, something, right? Prince Inga's a good character. He's a really good, well-rounded character. I will give him that. It's just, the title is not correct, and that's really it. I do love the fact that it is not mentioned people die, people can't die in the land of Oz. People need money, people don't need money in the land of Oz. It's not mentioned at all, because Oz is not a part of this. It's referenced at one point that two of the evildoers, the king and queen who captured everyone, drowned in the ocean. And that's fine, because the domestic ocean has nothing to do with the land of Oz. If people can't die in the land of Oz, but people can die in the land of Oz, people need money in the land of Oz, but people don't need money in the land of Oz. There's always been contradictions in the land of Oz. But since we're outside the land of Oz, I am fine with Dorothy saying the king and queen had drowned in the ocean. Perfectly fine. That's fine. No mention of money. There's mention of worth and value, as in regards to gold and diamond. But again, that's in regards to the Gnome Kingdom, not the land of Oz. So there's no true contradiction within this book, finally. So that's why I didn't hate it as much as the other ones. I'm not a fan of the author, but we got 4 left. We got 4 left, and we're almost there. I got my list of rankings on the back of my It Chapter 2 bookmark. We're there. We're almost there. We got 4 left, and then I can finally read some comics, and I can finally read other books on my to be read list, my TBR stack right here. We're almost there. On to the next review. Mucho mahalo.